It's All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. We're continuing our Off the Road series found on our HPR mobile app and at hawaiipublicradio.org. Just look for the Off the Road banner on the right-hand column. And today it's classic rockers Foreigner, who, like almost all touring groups, have been off the road for almost a year now. And a first in our series, they're doing something unusual with some of their merchandise and equipment, even rare and vintage items we'll hear, to try and support their crew, who, like the band, have also been out of work for a year and facing serious financial uncertainty. Plus, making their appearance special today, we're even going to get an exclusive acoustic performance of one of Foreigner's big hit songs, as we welcome bassist, background vocalist, and multi-instrumentalist Jeff Pilson. A big aloha and mahalo, brother Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Great to be here.
First, Jeff, where are you, and is this where you've been since the start of the pandemic?
I am at home, Southern California, and while we were on the road when the shutdown began, we were in Minnesota. That day, the governor of Minnesota had to shut everything down for, I believe, anything over 50 people. So the following day, which was March 13th, we headed back home, and I've been here ever since.
Dial in how you first became aware of it, and perhaps as that gig approached, how it began to affect things up until that shutdown.
Well, we heard about it like everyone else did, where we heard it was in China. It seemed like it was a billion miles away at that point. Right. As it started to develop in the States, certainly by March, we knew likely our touring days were going to be numbered. The whole mask thing hadn't really become a thing yet. And then as it looked like, okay, we're going to go home, you're thinking, oh, well, we'll go home for a few weeks or a month or something. And then as you just continued to watch what was going on, you realize, no, this is really serious. Not a lot's going to happen until a vaccine comes along. First we canceled the immediate shows, then we canceled our summer tour in Europe, but then we still had October and November we were going to plan to do shows, and then that got all shut down. So by the time we get back on the road, it will have been over a year for our crew, right. And that's not easy.
Any other personal losses that you face that really have touched you during this struggle?
Well, it's not a loss at this point, but my sister's husband's sister's husband, who I've known for close to 60 years, dear friend. He's on a ventilator and in an induced coma in Wisconsin right now. It's pretty damn scary. It's everywhere and it's frightening and just makes you think we got to really not take our health for granted. I'm one of those people that I have very little tolerance for people who can't accept the whole mask regimen just because I don't see how that's an obstruction on your liberty. I think it's your civic duty to help others and not do a communicable disease. And I just think we need to all do our part.
That's very heavy. What's the name of your loved one who's struggling?
His name is Dave Brunner.
Wow. Well, obviously our prayers with him. That's very heavy. And
he's mid-70s, so even though he's unconscious, I think he's fighting on some level, so I have hope there. But man, it's scary.
Well, that's a very personal story. And certainly turning to the band, what you guys are doing. How many people are on the crew?
What we're taking care of is our immediate crew, so that's 10 people.
10 of them, okay.
These guys are with us all the time. So if you go to foreigneronline.com, you'll see some options for clicking. And one of them is an online auction where you can make bids. Like, for instance, Breedlove Guitars, that endorses us and deals with a lot of our acoustic guitars. They have donated an acoustic guitar for this auction. I will then sign it to you personally. You can also, like you mentioned, buy vintage T-shirts, current T-shirts, all sorts of various Foreigner stuff. We even have face masks.
All of the proceeds are going to support the 10 crew members.
That is correct. That is correct.
Again, it's Jeff Pilson, bassist, singer, multi-instrumentalist with Foreigner. And he's 16 years you've been with Foreigner?
Yep.
You were here at the Blaisdell in 2007 when Jason Bonham was still in the band.
Sure.
And then you did the next year, you guys did a gig in Waikiki at some hotel for New Year's.
That's right, we did.
On December 10th of 2007, when Led Zeppelin reunited for the big Ahmet Ertegun event, Foreigner opened at that show.
That was amazing. It was really cool getting to open for Led Zeppelin. I mean, I was a little nervous. Like, we went on right before Zeppelin, so I was like, oh, Jesus. But you know what? Then we got to watch Zeppelin, which was incredible.
I was at that gig, too. And
oh, wow.
There you are, opening for the Led Zeppelin reunion. I can't think of a better spot to be in.
Being in Led Zeppelin might be a little better.
Exactly.
For one thing, I was, as a bass player growing up, my absolute idol was Chris Squire of Yes.
Okay.
And he was there playing with, it was Keith Emerson,
Right.
Simon Kirk, I forget who else
An
was in
all-star
that.
jam thing in the
It
beginning.
was an all-star jam band, and they played right before us, and it was a highlight for me because Chris Squire had to use my amp, and so he came up and he asked permission to change the settings, and I was like, wow, if you would have told the young me, the 16-year-old me, that Chris Squire was going to ask permission to change the settings on my amp someday, I would have lost it. So,
well, one of the nice things about Jeff is he's got his heart in the right place, and he's willing to actually contribute, like so many folks have. Whether it's been Soul Asylum, 10,000 Maniacs, Al Di Meola. Do you believe we had Al Di Meola play Strawberry Fields Forever on our little series, acoustic?
wow, huge fan.
You're going to be joining Nice Rank. So Jeff has toted along some instrumentation here, and as I said, he's not just a bass player, he's very gifted. Your Wikipedia says you even play cello, young man. Is that accurate?
I do. I mean, I'm not very good now. It's been a long time, but yeah, I can play. My daughter's better than I am at cello, but
right on. Well, what have you brought along to serenade?
Well, I'm in my studio, so I've just grabbed my 12-string. I'm going to do a Foreigner song.
We got Jeff Pilson of Foreigner, and he's being a kind guy to kind of throw some inspiration to all the folks who, like his crew, have been having a very difficult time. And like he was saying, there's other ways too, whether it's the health issues. There's so much going on. So just know we're really, really, really grateful that you would do this. And the floor is yours here on All Things Considered, Brother Jeff.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to do myself a little acoustic version of Feels Like the First Time.
Oh.
I would climb any mountain, sail across the stormy sea. That's what it takes me, baby. Show how much you mean to me. I know it must be the woman in you, brings out the man in me. No, I can't help myself. You're all in the world to me. Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. I have waited a lifetime. I spent my time so foolishly. Now that I found you, together we'll make history. And I know it must be the woman in you that brings out the man in me. I know I can't help myself. You're all in the world to me. And it feels like the first time, like it never did before. Feels like the first time. Won't you open up the door? Feels like the first time, like it never will again. Never again. Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. Won't you open up the door? Won't you open up the door? 'Cause it feels like the very first time. Yeah!
It is Jeff Pilson playing one of Foreigner's classics, Feels Like the First Time. And I'm just going to guess most of the people out there know that song, grew up with it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Safe, socially distanced, high fives. Serious.
Thank you, man. That was fun.
My best to everybody in the band, and especially to your relative, Dave.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it, Dave. Thank you so much. Take care. Aloha.
Aloha, brother. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.